Hello and welcome back. I'm Melissa Kolb, chiropractor and chief developer of the MKR chiropractic recruiting process. In our last video, we talked about the difference between the three different types of practices that are out there. Today, we are going to discuss the second most common question I get from those T7 to T10 students that I interact with when I volunteer my services over at the chiropractic school in my location. The second most common question I get is, I don't know if I want to be an associate or a private contractor, and I don't really know what those two words mean. Before I get into that, let me share a short story with you. This is one that just happened last month. I had 3 T10 students contact me about the exact same employment opportunity that was listed on the classified section of a school website, and I know that you have consulted your school websites as well. The advertisement went something like this: chiropractor seeks associate to come into the office, treat my patients while I need to be out of the office for a couple months due to a health issue. Upon coming back into the office, I'll need you to grow your own practice, but I also want you to do a bunch of marketing for the practice. After a little bit deeper investigation, a few more questions, and a few phone calls, what I learned is that this individual was seeing about 60 patients a week, patient visits that is, and they were going to be out of the office for a health issue for a couple months. What they truly were looking for, in my perception, is they wanted a relief doctor to come in and treat their practice members while they were going to be out of the office. They were then looking for maybe a private contractor relationship to come in and share overhead and grow their own practice. Because at 60 patient visits a week, I've got to tell you, that is not going to be a practice that can also support an associate. So let's talk about those two different words and what exactly they might mean. In my personal experience from working with individuals seeking employment as well as private practitioners hiring associates, what I see working in a true high-quality associate relationship is this model. The doctor would probably be operating what I would call a waitlist practice. He or she might be working 5 to 6 days a week, and their practice is full. They only see new patients if they're on a waiting list, and the next time they have an opportunity for a new patient appointment time, they're going to choose and pull from that list. In some respects, they might be losing some market share and some business because some people truly don't want to wait. And then they're seeking to find an individual, like a T10 or a new graduate, that is going to come into the practice and be able to work on that waiting list and see those new patients within a day or a couple days. That doctor might want to scale back to working 4.5 days a week, or maybe take a long vacation with their family. After that associate is appropriately trained, that associate would then be seeing some practice members that might have been in the practice a while, so that doctor can have a little more flexibility in his schedule. There may also be a new patient rotation. That doctor that owns his practice might want to see 1 new patient a week, and anybody else that calls is passed on to this new associate. There generally tends to be some type of base pay along with a bonus opportunity. Bonuses can be based on anything from amount of collections on a monthly basis to new patients brought into the practice, or maybe even care plan acceptance. And finally, there are always very clear benchmarks and expectations between the associate and the doctor that owns the practice as to how we get to the next level of opportunity and what my expectations might be of the associate so that we can have a long, healthy relationship with one another. The private contractor relationship is completely different in that when you're a private contractor, you are your own IRS entity. You might work under a social security number or maybe even an employee identification number. At this point, you may own a chiropractic table and some light office supplies, maybe letterhead and a business card. What will happen is you will move into an office where the chiropractor already owns his own office space, possibly, and he owns his business. He may have a staff, he may have diagnostics, and you're basically going to pay that individual to be able to have an opportunity to utilize all that diagnostic equipment, utilize his office, utilize his or her front desk staff. You're probably going to have your own phone line, and you would be responsible for doing your own marketing and truly building your own practice. That doctor, he or she is not going to give you their patients. They have their own practice. He or she wants you to build yours. At the end of the month, you would pay some type of agreed upon flat fee to that doctor for the use of his or her practice facility to have done your operation in throughout the month. Regardless of whatever opportunity you might choose to move into, I highly recommend always having some type of a contract. And that contract is going to be laid out in very specific language to explain how either the associate relationship or the private contractor relationship will be operating. Never, ever, ever move into a business relationship unless you have a contract and you absolutely know what the backout plan is, because even going into this relationship with the best of intentions, things happen. Spouses get jobs in different locations, parents need opportunities for us to help them as time goes by, and we may have to move eventually. So always have that relationship laid out so that everybody knows what their expectations are, and we can always make sure that those relationships stay healthy. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope this helps to explain the associate versus the private contractor relationship. Next time, we're going to be tackling the third most common question that I get, and that is, now that I understand how I think I might want to practice, and I understand that I might want to be an associate and not a private contractor, how do I know that the doctor that's hiring me or the office I'm working in, how do I know that they are a healthy, ethical, respected business in their community? We're going to tackle that question on our third video. Thanks for tuning in, and blessings for a great day.